Just another quick story going back to my alma mater high school, Portchester High School in Westchester County. It was a It wasn't known for the great football teams like high schools are today, or baseball, or basketball, or this or that. Portchester High School was known for its magnificent music program. I am a musician, always have been because of Portchester High School. But I was president of the band, and that was a big deal in those days because we were in a great marching band and concert band. And in those days, there were a lot of competitions, and you'd go to Suffern, New York, where all the great bands in New York State would be there competing against each other. As a matter of fact, after Portchester, when I went to college, I was a member of the Georgetown University marching band, and in my sophomore year, I marched in the inauguration parade for Richard Nixon. That was a big deal. So anyway, going back to Portchester, because we were had such a good reputation in music, our choral director, Clem Barton, who I think was outstanding, one of the great music men I ever met. He had gone to school with and was friends with Fred Waring of the Pennsylvanians. Fred Waring was a superstar in music, especially in choral music. Well, while I wasn't an official member of the chorus, I sang with them because I was well-rounded, and you couldn't be in the band and the chorus at the same time because they both gave the same concert. But I would rehearse with the choral, with the mixed chorus. And we had a big thrill one autumn when we went back to school. One of the big songs introduced to the world by Fred Waring was "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Da 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 da. In case you refresh your memory, and it was super big and really a thrill because Fred Waring said no one can sing the song but us except my friend Clem Barton at Portchester High School. He gave him permission for the chorus to sing that song at that Christmas concert. And I would go to rehearsals every day, and I really was a pretty good musician. I would come to rehearsals, and whatever section I'd stand in during practice, I would sing their part. Alto, tenor, baritone, bass. I knew them all. I knew my music. So come the Christmas concert, while I was performing with the band, the chorus vocals always come on first before instrumentals at the concert. At least that used to be it. And so when they announced to the world, to the audience, and the world, now our audiences, we'd have hundreds of people there, like they do today at our high schools. But the Christmas one is always the biggest attendance. And Clem Barton came out there and announced to everyone, "This is what we're going to do. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas" by Fred Waring, and you're hearing it for the very first time by a high school chorus. And the audience clapped for that. And I was in the wings, and Clem Barton walks off into the wings to give the audience a few moments to settle. And he says, "Want to be in it?" I said, "Sure." So he told me to come in. You go around the back and come up. He wanted for me to have the thrill of singing it with the chorus for the first time. I was a senior that year. I said, "Great, come." Whoop, around I go. I didn't call him Clem. I called him Mr. Barton. I said, "Great." And I got behind the top row and said, "Hey." And they looked down and they reached and lifted me up and I was in their section. Fortunately, it was the alto section. This, just to interrupt 1 second, this happened the first time I did a show of Fiorello. I found myself on the stage with the curtain going up, and I'm supposed to be up on the top ladder. And I did the same thing then. I yelled, "Hey, I need help," and they reached and they didn't pull me up. They threw me up from downstairs, grabbed me and threw me up, and I landed, and I was wobbling, and the curtain went up. But anyway, I went and I stood there and I sang. It was the night before Christmas with a chorus. The very first time it was ever performed publicly by the Portchester High School mixed chorus. In those days we called them glee clubs and stuff like that, but now they're mixed choruses. That was a thrill. And after the concert, a few days later, I got a real nice letter from Clem Barton, and I still have it on my desk. I still have that note congratulating me as president of the band for putting on a great concert that night. I love that guy. He was great. Most musicians love their choral directors, mixed chorus, glee clubs, girls chorus, men. They get to love them because you work every day with them and they love music, and so do you. So I still have wonderful memories of Clement Barton. That's it. Hello again, I'm Jerry Sanders, and one thing I want to talk about today, but I'm going to preface it with an observation. On an earlier program, I talked about certain women in television. I have nothing against women in television, but there are some. We have to start again. Hello, this is Jerry Sanders. This is take number 2. We started this program a few minutes ago, but while I was talking, the ancient mariner's wife, better known as my wife, comes into the room, the door back there it is, and walks up on me like a creepy crawler, saying, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh my God, I'm doing a television show." Ooh. So anyway, we're back, and I had 2 stories I'm going to tell. Not too long ago, I did a show about my years in the industry, and there were certain women commentators or news reporters that I didn't care for too much. It was nothing personal, nothing against women. It just happened to be. So I'm going to give you a challenge when you're watching TV tonight or tomorrow night. If Diane Sawyer comes on, stop whatever you're doing, sit right in front of her, and watch her go and keep talking. And today we're talking about this. Watch how, now when you're breathing in the industry, you're supposed to go, you breathe up into your mouth. The proper way of breathing on television, even on radio, even though they don't see you, so you don't make a noise, you take in air quickly. But Diane Sawyer is not professional. She's been around and she's well known and makes millions of dollars. And she's a woman, one of the first. She's a pioneer, and so we put up with things. I don't, because I'm a critic and I've been in the business a long time, and I don't like when people are talking and take a breath. That's not professional. So someone watch her, have a good laugh, and then try to forgive her. Okay? All right. The second story, what was the second story? I'm talking to my producer right now. What, just say... Oh, okay. My early days of broadcasting, being a sports announcer. Any of your guys or gals decided you want to do sports someday on radio or television, you have to start off with high school sports, high school football, high school basketball, amateur sports, work your way up through college, and before you get up to the pros, okay? I did them all, and to tell you the truth, my days as a high school basketball, I think it's my wife on the phone. The days of being an announcer doing high school basketball, I liked the best. They were the most fun, and the kids played hard, and you can't beat sitting in the bleachers amongst all the high school fans. The band is playing, the cheerleaders are jumping around, and the kids are screaming. Well, I did that in Oneonta, New York. I was doing a local high school basketball game, sitting at the top row of the bleachers. You see this on I hooked up with a headset, ear set, microphone, and then you plug into the heavy transmitter building piece of equipment in front of you that weighs about 1,000 tons, and I had to carry it up 14 rows of bleachers, set it up there, and hope the kids wouldn't kick it off and anyway plug it and do the game. One night I'm doing the game, and it's very exciting. At halftime, the whistle blow, the teams leave the court, and I'm there saying, okay, we'll be back in about 15 minutes with the second half. That's my cue to the engineer back at the station to cut me off, go to commercial, and do some other things, do the newscast while I'm taking a break. So I say all that. There are about 1,500 people in the gym, all cheering and out of breath because the first half was so great. And I'm just the way I am now. And I decided I'm going to go out to the men's room and maybe get a Coke and then come back for the second half. So I say goodbye, sign off. I look around. It's time to go. I stand up, and I said, you know what? I can't walk down all these bleachers. The kids are still sitting there. I'm not going to kill myself, but I'm going to jump off the bleachers down to the floor and go out and get a Coke. And that's exactly what I did. I got to the edge very carefully and then jumped. And I landed, kind of fell over a little bit. I was okay. But I forgot one thing. I forgot to take these off, and I was still hooked to the equipment up there in the top row of the bleachers. So as I hit the ground, my head twisted like that because these were still on, and the cord was, and I looked up with my broken neck. I looked up, and I said, oh my God. Off the top of the bleachers comes this 2 tons of equipment just about to land on my chest. So I roll over. Imagine, these are people watching me. This was the halftime show. They're watching Jerry Sanders killing himself. I rolled over, and the equipment came down and crashed, and between me and you, it made a big dent in the basketball court. So I covered it over with my foot, stood up, asked some people to help me. We brought the equipment. It was still working, so I did the second half. But you had to be there to see this human being jumping out of the bleachers, still attached to all his broadcast equipment, taking a break, and then watching the equipment as I pulled it with my cord go off the edge and come crashing down on the court. Okay, that's another weird story about my career, but see you next time. And I started in the outskirts of Syracuse, New York. And while we were having an ice cream the other day, I remembered a show I was the host of on radio at my very first radio station. And the name of the show was, are you ready? It was 11:30 in the morning, and the name of the show was The Obituary Column of the Air. And what it was, remember, I was a young announcer there, and I only did what I was told to do. And he had a script, and you would read the opening and announce to the people of Oswego and Fulton and other towns surrounding Syracuse who had passed away, and the calling hours at the funeral homes and so forth. This is what people listened to just before they had lunch. So there I was, my first day I was going to do this show, and I didn't know enough to check all the newspapers. You would check the newspapers and read the obituary columns basically on the radio for people who didn't get the newspapers, so they'd know. And it would sound something like this. And I'll make up a name for the funeral parlor because I don't remember 60 years ago what it was, but it would be like, good morning, the O'Brien Funeral Home is proud to present the obituary column of the air. Now this is on an open microphone, and after I read that, the next instruction is to read the obituaries from the newspaper. So I looked down and I didn't see anything. Meanwhile, it's, pardon the expression, dead air. Nothing is happening, and people are home saying, is my radio broken? What's going on? Where is this guy? And I realized I had nothing to read. So what did I say, being a great young radio announcer? I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say no one died yesterday. I'm very sorry. Maybe someone will die tonight, and we'll have some names to read for you tomorrow. Thanks for listening. And, and the commercial. Then I'd read the commercial for this funeral home. And that would be it. And we'd have organ music playing in the background. I played it on a record and would bring the volume down while I spoke. That was my very first obituary column of the air on radio. It really happened. And my boss, when he came in around 2 o'clock, just stared at me. Just stared at me. Like, I don't believe what I heard you do today. Fortunately, everybody was happy the next day because somebody died. And then I could give some names. I actually thought of making up some names. Like my Aunt Matilda, who had died, but she had died around 20 years ago. But when people hear names on radio, they don't know them. They figure everybody else knows them. So if you say my Aunt Matilda died yesterday, everybody goes, oh, they don't know who Aunt Matilda is. All right, that's it for today. More adventures of young Jerry on the radio will follow, I promise you. Thanks for laughing. And I've come up with the best idea for a show yet. It's a show about nothing. I couldn't think of anything, but a couple of things were bothering me because I don't understand computers. And believe it or not, I just bought a new computer. And I made, you can read here some notes here about my new computer. Number one, I have to set it up. What the heck does that mean, set it up? I thought if you bought it and paid $30 million for a new computer, when you bring it home, open it up and start using it. No, I got to set it up. Then I need a new password for my email. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't even know what my old password is. Knowing me, I'm going to pick the same password and not know it. Then I wrote here that I was having trouble with Facebook. I don't know what Facebook is, but I know when I push a button that my director set up, all these little notes come up on the screen from people I don't know. And they're making comments about me. I don't know who they are, but I noticed one thing. They don't put their picture on it. So maybe I'd recognize them. It's a picture of like a German Shepherd dog making comments about me. Or a picture of a back porch. I love those. Or maybe a picture of a set of tools. Nice. And they're making comments with me that I'm silly and I don't make sense. And it's a German Shepherd writing these things. So then the director said I have to set up a watch list. Oh, for my stocks. Okay, I can set that up, but I've forgotten the symbols already. I don't know the initials anymore. I'll put something in there, see what stock comes up. And then let's see. Oh, I didn't know where the camera was. If you've watched the show before, you'll see my eyes darting all over the place. Now I see there's a little blue light up there. When I was in television an eon ago, we had floor directors who would point to me. But now my director says he's going to point to the camera. Well, to do that, this has to happen. I just pointed to the camera. So if you see this happen, that means my director's helping me. And the other thing was, he showed me something on the computer of a list of people who watch this stupid show. They actually put it on to look at it. Now, wait a minute. You're not going to believe this, but the top 5 list of countries who watch me are the United States, the United Kingdom. Hello there. I love England. I've been there 4 times now. I love it. Canada watches. Brazil watches me. I got to start getting some samba music behind me. People in Brazil watch this show. And number 5 was France. Now, my wife is French, and I've been to Paris a number of times. Beautiful country, very nice people, but I can't believe they're watching this. The bottom 5 of this list of 89 countries who watch this show. The bottom 5 are Ireland. I've been to Ireland, and I'll leave it at that. It's a beautiful country, but I never knew that while I was talking in my office, people in Norway were looking at me, eating like a live tuna or something. And then the people in the Netherlands. I never understand why a country would want their country to be known as the Netherlands. And then number 5 would be, what's this? Saudi Arabia watches my show.
That's the United Arab.
The United Arab Republic. Okay, well, they know each other. They probably call each other and say, "Don't miss Jerry. He's on, staring, looking at the floor and that golf club over his head." See the golf club there? I got that golf club when I think I was 7 years old, and that started me playing golf. That golf club is very, very old, probably 90 years old now. And the last, boo, last country who watches this show are the people in the Philippines, of all things. Can you imagine the ratings in the Philippines, and Jerry and his stupid golf club behind him and headsets that he paid 89 cents for at the dollar store? He's doing a TV show now. You got to watch him. Anyway, that's it. I couldn't think of anything else to talk about. Bye.